Okay,
Oscar, you would have had many times during your career, Oscar, as Ian was saying earlier on, the great number of world champions that you beat, 10 world titles in 6 different weight divisions. Was there a time when what was going on outside the ring, whatever it was, your promotional wrangles with Bob Arum, for example, when that got to you, but in the ring you got away with it for whatever reason?
Absolutely. Look, I remember when I wanted to break away from Top Rank. I was only 24 years of age, probably just like Amir Khan. And people were telling me, look, Bob Arum is the biggest player in the world. If you leave him, he's going to destroy your career. Well, we're in the same scenario as Amir Khan is right now. The only difference is that he has Golden Boy right behind him. We are 100% right behind him, supporting him 100%. And one thing about Amir Khan is that he is focused, he is determined. Let his team decide what he's going to do outside the ring, but Amir Khan is focused on one thing, and that is to fight and win world titles and be the best world champion he can be.
Oscar, can I ask you why Golden Boy didn't step in 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago and come up with a fantastic undercard, which would have, in theory, saved the Sky pay-per-view? Were you asked to, or was it not your business to step forward?
It wasn't our business. Amir Khan Promotions contracted Ricky Hand Promotions to put on a great undercard, and which they have. But complications happen in boxing, okay. which with us, with Golden Boy Promotions, we do about 90 events a year. Golden Boy Promotions in the States and worldwide. We always have complications. We always have fallouts with fights. Fighters get sick. Fighters get injured. It happens. Unfortunately, I mean, yes, Khan Promotions and Hatton Promotions are a very young company. We want to come in. We want to guide them. We want to help them. We want to make sure that they have the best promotional company in the world here in the UK, and we're going to be there right by their side. But it happens. And obviously, unfortunately, with these high-profile events, with Amir Khan and Paul headlining, you're going to get a lot of backlash from people and a lot of criticism. But this is what happens in boxing. And all I have to say is that with Amir Khan, with Ricky Hand Promotions, they're the future. Just like Golden Boy, we are the future. And we just have to tough it out. It's going to happen. Undercards are going to fall through. We're going to have a great fight on Saturday night. And I think Amir Khan and Paul McCloskey is really going to put on a superb and wonderful event for us.
Oscar, you're getting very passionate, and you were at the final press conference today as well, and clearly relishing your role now, new life as a promoter. Do you miss boxing?
I do miss boxing. Mm-hmm. I really do. It's funny you asked. Just the other day, I actually do have to admit, today, as we speak, I was planning a comeback. I was planning a comeback. I visited Iraq and the troops 2 weeks ago. I was there as just to go and give them moral support. I was there for a week. I took a few of our young fighters to go and feel the experience, some of the Golden Boy fighters. And for some reason, I was just inspired. And, I was inspired. I was training with the troops, and I was fighting, and I was working the gloves and the mitts. And I come back home, and I tell my wife, honey, can I come back? I feel like fighting once again, I have to get the big bosses, the big bosses, approval. And approval, of course. And she said, whatever you want, I'm supporting you 100%, whatever you want. And so I was thinking, my gosh, I don't have to come back, emotionally, financially. I'm very secure. I'm satisfied with what I've accomplished. Let's put it this way. So I don't have to come back. And financially, I'm okay. I'm great. So then I decided, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to be one of those fighters that comes back because either it's A, financial, B, they miss it, C, financial. It's not going to be like that for me. So I put that to rest, and but it was crossing my mind.
I know you've got to go now, but just one last point. You were talking earlier about 1992, and really, in the global sense, the start of the Golden Boy story when you won gold at the Olympic Games. Was there anything that happened in your professional career to match that, given the emotion of the day there, because you'd promised to your mother 18 months or so beforehand, before she died of cancer, that you would win the gold medal for her? And I was lucky enough to be ringside that day. It was my first Olympics as a BBC reporter, and my abiding memory is that moment when your arm was raised as a gold medal winner. You stepped forward, knelt down, crossed yourself, and pointed to the heavens as if dedicating it to your mother. And I wonder if, because of that emotion, anything you ever did in your professional career came to match it.
I can look into your eyes right now and tell you there will never, ever be anything like that gold medal, winning the gold medal. Barcelona for me was unbelievable. Barcelona for me was, obviously because of my mother passing away in 1991, I faced Marco Rudolph, who was from Germany, the only man to beat me in the last 7 years. And it so happened that I faced him in the Olympic gold medal round.
Because he'd beaten you in the World Championship final a year earlier.
He beat me in the finals a year earlier. I mean, I had an amateur record of 235 fights and only 5 losses. And I faced the Cubans, I faced the Germans, I faced the Russians, I faced everybody. So this guy to face me in the last round of the Olympic gold medal finals for the gold medal, I mean, there will never, ever be anything like that. And anybody, any kid, any champion, any fighter who is training, who is fighting, who has those inspirations of becoming an Olympic gold medalist or an Olympic or an Olympian, period. Just train hard. Go for your goals. Go for your dreams, especially because in 2012, you guys here right now have a tremendous opportunity to build and to create the next generation of champions. And right now, it's funny, we're talking now, me and Ricky Hatton were speaking over dinner. I want to join forces with Ricky Hatton. I want to join forces with him, with his promotional company, and create the next generation because we are the future. Golden Boy Promotions and Ricky Hatton Promotions, we are the future. Amir Khan is really doing something incredible right now with his promotional company. I want to guide them. I want to give them the experience and the knowledge to make sure that, yes, Don King and Bob Arum have had a chokehold in boxing for the last 40 years, but now it's our time. But let's do it right.
Oscar, I really appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us, and have a good fight, as they say.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's the great
I wish I was fighting, but my wife wouldn't let me. So.
They're always in charge. Oscar De La Hoya, if you're wondering just how great, Oscar, if you're young and you're listening to this, why aren't you in bed? But why, just to give you an idea of how great a boxer Oscar De La Hoya was, gold medal at the 92 Olympics, as we mentioned. He defeated 17 world champions in his career. He won 10 world titles, 6 different weights, and he generated more money than any boxer in the history of the sport on a pay-per-view income, an estimated $696 million. A true star, and obviously, as you can tell, a great promoter. So thank you very much to Oscar De La Hoya. Steve Bunce is with us. Tell us a little bit about the man that Amir Khan is fighting on Saturday.
Paulie McCloskey, as Oscar kept referring to him, confusing him slightly with Paulie Malignaggi.
Easy mistake.
Yeah, it's a simple mistake. Paul McCloskey, he's from just outside. He's just from outside of Belfast. He's been training in Belfast for about 12 weeks for this fight, or 11 weeks for this fight. He's unbeaten. He's unbeaten in 22 fights with 12 stoppages, and that doesn't sound that impressive until you actually take a closer look at his record. And these last 5 fights, which has been a sequence of British and European title fights. So those are guys. So you have to meet guys there who are nominated, Ian. You know, these are not the renter bums from Latvia or the fat Mexicans who we've had had over the last 20 or 30 years. His last 5 guys have been nominated. They've all been decent fighters. Not Amir Khan's, don't get me wrong, but he's suddenly found his groove. 2 years ago, he just suddenly started to sit down on his punches, started to hurt people, and he stopped all 5 of them in that sequence, going back in fact about 18, 19 months. Now, it's a really impressive sequence, and the kid has, I mentioned half an hour ago before we welcomed Oscar, he has the confidence, and he's also going to have upwards of 7, 8, maybe even 9,000 travelling Irish fans with him come fight night. And you know what? Anybody that tells you it doesn't matter, it's just 2 people in the ring, they don't know what boxing's about. If you've got 9,000 fans screaming your name in an accent you can recognise, it helps. Talk about the 12th man, as Delia would say. This gives you the full subs bench screaming down your neck.
Yeah, well, let's be having him then, because he admitted to Mike Costello earlier that this could be close to the pinnacle of his career.
It just hasn't come by luck. I've worked my way up the ladder. You know what I mean? I'm 22-0. I won the British European titles and I vacated them to get this opportunity, you know, and say I'm here on merit. Can't do any more than that, you know, so I'm looking forward to it. I've worked so hard. I am in the best condition of my life. I have a lot of faith and belief in what I can do as a boxer, but as you know now, and you watch fighters all over the board, like all over the world, like, you know, conditioning plays a big part in it, you know, and it's not just about skill anymore, it's about fitness. I've seen many as a good fighter lose to a lesser boxer because they weren't as fit as him, you know, so I've got myself in top condition for this year and I can't wait.
And in terms of mental fitness as well, you went to see a psychologist and were told that you didn't need to.
Well, I've worked with a psychologist in the past, you know, in the amateur game, and we covered everything here. We left no stone unturned, if you know what I'm saying. So I went and met a girl one day, and she's I don't know a lot about her, but she works with sportsmen, sports teams and all the rest, and she had a good chat with her for 30 minutes. She basically said, to be honest, I don't think you need to talk to me anymore. I can see you're completely focused on what you're doing. You know exactly where you're going and what you want to do. So it was nice for her to say it, you know, and I felt that anyway myself. But it was good to hear coming from somebody with that kind of qualification.
I was reading that Steve Collins, one of Ireland's great world champions, has said that he doesn't know anybody out there who's got a bigger heart than you. That's some compliment.
Exactly, coming from Steve in the fights he's been in. When he's saying that, I take that as a big compliment too. You know, when Steve was on with some good ones, you know, Ben, Eubanks, you know, and he done some good jobs in his time too. So to hear that come from my fellow countryman is a real honour.
It's hard for us on the outside to measure the levels of heart, but Amir Khan showed a lot of courage in his last fight against Maidana, so it might come down to more than just courage and bravery.
I think obviously it's going to come down to, there's going to be bravery. I think skill and ability is going to play a part too, and there's no doubt we both have loads of that. And I think whichever's game plan comes off the best. What I do is quite unique in a way. No, not a lot of fighters fight like me. Amir did say that they brought on, they done sparring to replicate me, but I'd be very surprised if they got somebody to actually do what I can do in there, you know what I mean? But again, if they did fair play, and that's preparation's everything, you know, but it will come down to heart, skill, everything it'll take.
That is Amir Khan's opponent on Saturday night, Paul McCloskey, 25-year-old, a European champion. Mike Costello, does he have any chance of winning?
Oh, I think he does, because he's got this unbeaten record. He's also got a very strong amateur pedigree. And what struck both me and Steve this week during the build-up, being around Paul McCloskey, Ian, is that quite often when fighters are introduced for the first time to a build-up of this size, which is the case for McCloskey, they quite often explode and start making stupid statements and shouting and screaming on the dais at the final press conference. But Paul McCloskey couldn't have been more calm and more composed, and I think that's been really impressive about him this week.
Steve? Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I was with him yesterday at the Irish Centre up there in Manchester, and with him at the public workout with you on Tuesday. And he, if anything, he's become calmer as the week has progressed. I'm quite amazed. And one other thing, just quickly, Freddie Roach, who generally badmouths every single opponent his boxers are facing. I had a few minutes, 10 minutes with Freddie on Tuesday, Mike, and he's very concerned about McCloskey because he's not just a southpaw, which means he leads with his right hand. That was for the listeners, not for you, Mike. He's not just a southpaw.
Left-handed.
He's not just a southpaw. He's a terrifically awkward southpaw.